From the Opubco Studios in Oklahoma City, this is the Press Row. I'm Jenny Carlson, here with Barry Trammell. It's time for our 5 and 5 segment. 5 topics, 5 minutes total. Let's get right to it, Barry. Let's start with the NFL draft next week. Will Brandon Weeden make the first round?
I'm going to say yes. The NFL quarterbacks rise dramatically as the draft gets closer. I don't know if somebody will trade up. I can see somebody like Miami, if they don't get Ryan Tannehill, making a trade to get Weeden somewhere in the middle of the first round. Cleveland could do the same. I think Weeden will go in the first round.
Clearly, the highest risers in the NFL draft are quarterbacks. We saw Christian Ponder a season ago. Second, maybe third round guy, first round pick by the Minnesota Vikings. So things happen with quarterbacks that you aren't expecting in terms of how fast they rise. But I'm going to say no. I'm going to say Brandon Weeden's going to be a second day guy. I think that there's going to be enough movement, enough other stuff going on that Brandon Weeden won't get taken. But I think, we've talked about Ryan Tannehill, Barry. I still think at the end of the day, Brandon Weeden's a better quarterback than Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill could be a top 5 pick. I mean, it's kookiness, but that could happen. I actually do think Brandon Weeden will go second day. All right, what about this one, Barry? For the Thunder, more important, number 1 seed or avoiding Memphis? What do you got?
I would avoid Memphis. The number 1 seed's important, but it's only going to be important in a Game 7 against San Antonio. That's the only situation by which there's a difference between 1 and 2 seeds. Avoiding Memphis, though, is a lot more than one game. Avoiding Memphis means no 7 games of Tony Allen in your grill. No 7 games of Nick Collison and Serge Ibaka and Kendrick Perkins having to guard Marc Gasol and Zach Randolph. Let me tell you this. Russell Westbrook, James Harden, particularly Kevin Durant. You let them vote, they're going to vote to avoid Memphis. They want Tony Allen on the other side of the Mississippi.
Yeah, I think that's right. And you know what? This could set up better for the Thunder as a 2 seed because it requires the Spurs to knock out some of those teams that have given the Thunder the biggest problem. So number 1 seed, it's been huge historically. I think since the playoffs went to this current system of 16 teams, 8 on each conference side, 16 number 1 seeds have advanced to the finals. So, it's an overwhelming number when you look at that. But I think in terms of matchups, 2 seeding would work out just fine for the Thunder. I think they'd be okay with that. We'll see how it goes. All right, what about this question of OU football, Barry? Forgot the bell. Hey, who will be the starting tailback next year at OU?
It's wide open. Trey Millard started the other day at the spring game. Brennan Clay was the most productive. Roy Finch is the guy everybody's always been excited about. Danzel Williams looked the best.
Yeah.
The redshirt freshman, I thought he looked really good, and that's why I'm going to pick Dominique Whalen. I know he's coming off the knee injury, but he was clearly OU's best tailback last year. Just a solid, all-around good tailback. I think he's going to get back healthy. I'll bet he's the number 1 guy. I also think it'll be really spread out. I think they're going to share the wealth, but I think Dom Whaley starts the season.
Yeah, I think Dom is the guy, if he's healthy. It's obviously he's rehabbing a pretty serious ankle injury that he broke the leg, and that's going to be something to see if he gets back to that full strength that we saw him a year ago. Such a physical, pounding style, and at the same time really, really fast. That's best case scenario. I think a great backup plan, though, is giving the ball a lot to Trey Millard, Barry. He looked really good. 4 carries, 7-yard average when he touched the ball. That's what he did last year. That's not too bad. I think the Sooners would live with 7 yards a touch. All right, Barry, it was a tough weather week in Oklahoma. What's your scariest tornado story?
I've never actually been right in the middle of a tornado, although
it came through Norman
the one
on
that
Friday.
came through Norman on Friday blew my car door up against my head and popped my head, probably gave me a concussion. But I did go back to May 99, the big one, in May 3rd. We were at the ballpark. This was a couple of months before you joined us.
Yep.
And we had an engagement party for a couple of staff members. We're at the ballpark at Bricktown. We got the Opubco suite, got a cake and everything. And they blow the siren, take everybody down in the basement. We come back up, and it's a surreal scene. You could tell something's happened. Traffic everywhere. You could smell gas in the air. Took me about an hour and a half to get home. You saw all kinds of damage, poles across Interstate 35. you didn't know if the end of the earth had come or not.
Yeah, and I haven't had that experience of being in one either. And
now you're from Kansas.
I'm from Kansas, for goodness sakes. But I'll tell you what, I have vivid memories from my childhood. I grew up on a farm, and we didn't have tornado sirens. It was all, well, we think it might be close. And this was back, it wasn't back in the Stone Ages, but it was back before you could pinpoint tornadoes down to the street or something like that. So, there was a lot of late nights wake up by the folks and have to go down in our basement, which was a scary place on a sunny day. So those stand out to me, Barry. But yeah, around here, it doesn't take too long before you have some scary stories. Our thoughts are with the people out in Woodward, by the way.
Hey, Dorothy, was your dog named Toto?
No Toto, sorry. Lastly, what about this NBA question, Barry? Are teams tanking games for the lottery? We could just save this one and talk about it every year.
Yes, they are, and it's an outrage, and the NBA's got to do something about it. I mean, it's ridiculous. I know they've weighted the lottery to make it less likely that you'll get the number one pick with the worst record, but I'm for even changing it even more. What we're seeing good teams like Portland just throw in the towel halfway through the season. We're seeing teams like Cleveland just give up. It's awful and it's terrible, and I see teams like Houston still fighting to make the playoffs, and I see teams like New Orleans, which has no talent and no hope, but fighting and really scratching, and they're an honor to the NBA, and these louses who are giving away games and tanking games are an outrage. The NBA needs to act.
Yeah, I guess the question is, what do you do? I mean, as Barry said, the lottery, they've weighted it so it doesn't necessarily mean if you're the worst record, you're automatically the first team to pick. You have a better chance of it, but you aren't, it's not a guarantee. I don't know what more they do, but it's terrible. I mean, for some of these arenas and some of these fans that, they pay good money and, it is hard to see. But, I mean, what do you do? What is the NBA supposed to do? Are they supposed to go around and demand these teams play? I mean, I don't know what the answer is, Barry.
Well, I mean, I think you just make it even harder on the lottery. Maybe just a free lottery.
Everybody has one.
Everybody
name.
Gets one name of the teams that don't make the 14 teams that don't make the playoffs. Or if that doesn't work, put all 30 teams in the lottery. I mean, why are we rewarding bad teams for bad decisions and bad decision making? Give a team like Phoenix or Houston that stays in there and fights every year. Give them a chance at Anthony Davis.
That'd be interesting. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.